What kinds of things give status to people in your country? Well, education, wealth, money, large house, car, fame, career are some of the things that give status in our country. There are some other aspects of status in my country like luxury gadgets, political power, expensive dresses and publicity. However, the things I mentioned before are most prominent aspects of status in my country. For instance, people with higher education and knowledge naturally get a status that others can't have. Similarly, wealth, cars, houses, branded dresses, and many other things are often considered as part of people's status in many cases. It is not unlikely that people with fame and popularity also enjoys a different type of status that mass people can't have. Jobs in important government sectors can now. 1. Have things changed since your parents' time? In terms of people's status in society, things have not changed that much between my father and my generation. The status symbols I mentioned earlier were almost same as they are nowadays. Expensive technological gadgets and new brand names might have been added as part of people's status symbol, however, those could be classified as the materialistic achievement which was also present in my parents' era. 1. Do you think advertising influences what people buy? Yes, I think advertisement has a huge impact on people's purchasing decision. It is quite natural that people would pick a known branded product than purchasing products from brand names they do not know about. People spend a lot of time in front of their television or computer and they are knowingly and unknowingly being influenced by the advertisements and advertisers. Some advertisements even allure us to purchase products we actually do not need at all. 1. What are the important qualities to achieve our ambitions? Determination and hard work, in my opinion, are two most important qualities to fulfill our ambitions and goals. Luck often plays its tricks, but I believe fortune always favors the hard-working and strong-minded people to succeed. Apart from that, proper planning, timely execution, expertise, and experience are some other qualities we need to achieve our goals in life. Are all ambitions good in life? I guess every positive ambition that brings happiness, success, prosperity and well-being of others is a good one. However, we are often driven by our selfishness, greed and materialistic achievements, and any ambition which are aimed to fulfill our personal greed is a bad one. In general, ambitions in our life help us to work harder and give meaning in life, and that's why we should have ambitions, positive ambitions I mean. What type of young ambition generation in your country has? That's a good question. The young generation in our country usually aims for a prosperous career and economic freedom. Their ambitions in life also include being someone famous so that people will know them, being a successful and happy person in later life and having a beautiful and nice life partners. They also want to explore the world and want to see a flourishing country in the future where violence and crime would be a thing of past. Would you focus more on achieving your ambition or doing things you love to do? Personally, my ambition in life is quite realistic and not something we hear in fairy tales only. Being able to do something I love and have passion is not different than my ambition. I want to lead a life that would be surrounded by my family members, relatives, friends and people I care about. Being able to set up my own business or doing a job that I would feel interested in is both my ambition and dream. Status and ambition. Q. Who are the most influential people in your society? A. Famous scientists, writers, politicians, business people, actors are mainly the most influential people in our society. Apart from that, newspaper editors, teachers, and army people also have influences over people to some extent. One of the most influential people in my country would be the current president of Indonesia, Joko Widodo. He is very popular among the people here, because of his humble and simple lifestyle. Besides that, everyone knew that he is free from corruption and nepotism. He had been given an award from the International Time magazine as one of the inspirational people in Indonesia. Q. Are there many heroes or role models today? A. Yes, there are many public figures that people could select as their role models these days. They could be athletes, actors, scientists, or politicians. But I do believe that people should be selective when they choose their heroes. Some famous persons have negative personality, and we should not follow them. For example, a famous singer is a role model and hero for thousands of teenagers. But behind his great performance, if he has problems with drugs and alcohol, he should not be followed by the fans. These kinds of things could ruin many teenagers' life if they follow his lifestyle. Q. What are the qualities of a good leader? A. I think it is really important for a good leader to have integrity in his life. As he leads an institution or a company, he should lead by example. For instance, when a boss wants all of his employees to come to work on time, he should not come late. And then a good leader would not only give orders to his team. He should be open-minded and listen to the ideas of his teams. With this kind of attitudes, many people would respect and admire him. What kinds of things give status to people in your country? Well, education, wealth, money, large house, car, fame, career are some of the things that give status in our country. There are some other aspects of status in my country like luxury gadgets, political power, expensive dresses and publicity. However, the things I mentioned before are most prominent aspects of status in my country. For instance, people with higher education and knowledge naturally get a status that others can't have. Similarly, wealth, cars, houses, branded dresses, and many other things are often considered as part of people's status in many cases. It is not unlikely that people with fame and popularity also enjoys a different type of status that mass people can't have. Jobs in important government sectors can also be a symbol of status in many societies, and finally political power, though controversial in some cases, is also a status symbol in my country. 1. Have things changed since your parents' time? In terms of people's status in society, things have not changed that much between my father and my generation. The status symbols I mentioned earlier were almost same as they are nowadays. Expensive technological gadgets and new brand names might have been added as part of people's status symbol, however, those could be classified as the materialistic achievement which was also present in my parents' era. Do you think advertising influences what people buy? Yes, I think advertisement has a huge impact on people's purchasing decision. It is quite natural that people would pick a known branded product than purchasing products from brand names they do not know about. People spend a lot of time in front of their television or computer, and they are knowingly and unknowingly being influenced by the advertisements and advertisers. Some advertisements even allure us to purchase products we actually do not need at all. What are the important qualities to achieve our ambitions? Determination and hard work, in my opinion, are two most important qualities to fulfill our ambitions and goals. Luck often plays its tricks, but I believe fortune always favors the hard-working and strong-minded people to succeed. Apart from that, proper planning, timely execution, expertise, and experience are some other qualities we need to achieve our goals in life. Are all ambitions good in life? I guess every positive ambition that brings happiness, success, prosperity and well-being of others is a good one. However, we are often driven by our selfishness, greed and materialistic achievements, and any ambition which are aimed to fulfill our personal greed is a bad one. In general, ambitions in our life help us to work harder and give meaning in life, and that's why we should have ambitions, positive ambitions I mean. What type of young ambition generation in your country has? That's a good question. The young generation in our country usually aims for a prosperous career and economic freedom. Their ambitions in life also include being someone so that people will know them, being a successful and happy person in later life, and having a beautiful and nice life partners. They also want to explore the world and want to see a flourishing country in the future where violence and crime would be a thing of past. Would you focus more on achieving your ambition or doing things you love to do? Personally, my ambition in life is quite realistic and not something we hear in fairy tales only. Being able to do something I love and have passion is not different than my ambition. I want to lead a life that would be surrounded by my family members, relatives, friends and people I care about. Being able to set up my own business or doing a job that I would feel interested in is both my ambition and dream. The role of ceremony in our lives. Q. How important are ceremonies in our lives? Ceremonies are expressions of joy, passion, devotion and bonding. We celebrate through the different ceremonies we have in our life. Some ceremonies have religious, patriotic, cultural and traditional significance. They are filled with ritual and it helps us to acknowledge the true meaning of our life and presence. Many ceremonies strengthen our family and social bonding. We celebrate to welcome a newborn into this world, to cherish our memory, to congratulate someone, in graduation, marriage and anniversary ceremonies. Many ceremonies show that we care, and we are true friends, which simply help to heal the wound. Ceremonies motivate us, inspire us and refresh us to work in new spirit, and some ceremonies let us forget our woes and depression. Some ceremonies like New Year Eve, Christmas, Eid are celebrated worldwide and remind us who we are, what course of actions define us. Finally, ceremonies can bring enemies together to forget their hostility and gives us excellent opportunity to know new people and make friends. Q. Do you see the role of private and public ceremonies changing in the future? A. I think I have already observed some changes in the role of both private and public ceremonies in our life. That's why I believe that the ceremonies, as well as their roles in our personal and social life, would also change in the future. For example, some ceremonies are not as widely celebrated as we used to do it in the past. Many public ceremonies have political relation and that would surely be changed. In terms of the role of private ceremonies, their role would change in terms of their influence on our personal and social life. Since people in a different era have different doctrine and way of living, the role of private festivals thus changes over time. The public ceremonies changes based on a country's economic and political situations, so do they roles in our lives. Attitudes to marriage in your country. Q. Have attitudes to marriage changed in recent years? Yes, in my opinion, that has changed a lot. While arranged marriage was the norm in past decade, people no longer follow this trend nowadays. The average age of marriage for both male and female is around 25 years, while it was far less than that just in last decade. Parents in older generations prepared their daughters to get married to established men. This attitude has changed and they are now making sure that their daughters have their own identity and establishment before getting married. While the number of single fathers or single mothers in our country was very few, this has increased nowadays and seems like this is because of the increased divorce rate. Q. In what ways do men and women feel differently about marriage, in your opinion? A. I think the basic feelings of marriage would be same for both men and women. This includes the excitement, some anxiety, dream, hope, uncertain new lifestyle, responsibilities etc. But it's also true that in our society marriage means a bonding between a man and woman, and in a traditional arrangement the bride would leave her house and start living in the groom's house. From this context, the girl's feeling would be different from the boy. The boy would be responsible for earning the money and that's something the bride would not feel anxious about. Examiner, we've been talking about things we own. I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions relating to this topic. First, let's consider values and the way they can change. In Switzerland, what kind of possessions do you think give status to people? Candidate, the first thing which comes to my mind is the car. Yes, because lots of people like to have posh cars or expensive cars to show their status, their place in the society. Examiner, is that a new development? Candidate, no, I think it isn't. Examiner, people have thought like that for quite a long time? Candidate, yes. Another thing is probably the clothing. It starts already when you are young. When the children go to school, they want to have posh labels on their jumpers or good shoes. Examiner, what do you think of this way of thinking, that I need to have a car or certain clothes to show my status? Candidate, probably it's sometimes a replacement for something you don't have, so if your wife has left you or your girlfriend, you just buy some new, I don't know, new watches or new clothes to make you satisfied again. Examiner, you don't think of it as a healthy way of thinking? Candidate, it's probably not honest to yourself. You can understand what I mean? Examiner, yes. And do you think this will change? In the future, will cars and designer clothes be status symbols in the same way? Candidate, I'm sure that clothes will be, that the thing with the clothes will be the same. I'm not so sure about the cars because cars cause lots of environmental problems and probably in some years, a few years, this will change because it's not reasonable to drive a car anymore. Becoming famous. 1. Do you want to become famous? Thank you for your pretty question. Well, it is not easy for me to explain whether I want to be a famous person or not, but I definitely want that people should know about me. I have a good number of worst experiences, and if I were a celebrity, I mustn't have to experience those. I am a painter by profession and would like that people would know about me and my paintings. Basically, I love to paint landscapes and thus have traveled in different parts of the world only to get the right locations for my painting. During the trips, I had to communicate with the people and tell them about my aim so that they could help me in different aspects as I was in distant places from my native land. If I were a famous individual, then they would have come to help me by themselves and even I did not need to seek their help. Besides, I also had to experience some negative effects in immigrations. I don't want to mention the state names where I was neglected as a painter, and the authorities made delay to allow me entering the countries. But imagine if I were a celebrity who is admired across the globe, certainly I would not have to suffer such consequences. Legal barriers would have been easier for me to cross. Besides, I would have gained much wealth as well. But I think I do not need the celebrity status, rather people should know about me and respect me from the core of their heart. It will inspire me to paint more attractive and real-life paintings. How to become a well-known person in your country. It is not easy to be a famous person in India. The first thing is that you should have some political connections, like you should be related to some political leaders, or you can also involve yourself in politics if you want the name and the fame. Besides, mass media plays an important role in making someone famous or replacing him/her with someone else. If you can be a media personality, it becomes easier for you to be famous. But if you want to be a famous person and lack the aforesaid ways, I have another idea. You can enroll yourself into any reality show. A wide number of reality shows are available in the country and their rating is higher. Many of the people watch those reality shows and you can enroll yourself after your choice. When the show will be aired on air, people across the country will watch you on television. This is a way to get popularity, and I can name many of the ordinary people who have become famous with the reality shows. But, if you truly want to be a well-known person, I will suggest you to work hard whatever you are up to. Without a hard work, you do not own a chance to stand. Gradually your chance will sharpen your skills and you will be a renowned one. What kind of people can become famous in your country? Well, fame is not a cheap thing to pursue. Everybody cannot be famous. In India, there are a large number of people who are famous across the world, ranging from Subhas Chandra Bose to Bollywood superstar and former Miss World Aishwarya Rai Bachchan. They have become famous by their talents, skills and efforts. They are renowned by their name and do not need any other special titles or linkages to be exposed to people. They have become famous by their sincere efforts. They, in fact, did not do anything to be famous, rather it is their devotion to the work which has elevated them to the level of the celebrity. So, people who have struggled in the beginning of their career or life and continued the struggle for a certain age, they have become well known. They may not look similar or may not own the similar qualities, but one thing is common among them. All of them have struggled in the beginning. I think you are informed about the issue of Indian independence. That did not come overnight and the leaders had to struggle for long. As a result, they achieved the independence, and by the same time the people who had advanced roles became famous across the country and in the world by the same time. Industry is termed as the key to success, but I think it is also the key to be famous in my country. What are the advantages and disadvantages of being famous? Well, everything in the world has two sides, advantageous and disadvantageous. If I consider the advantages of being a famous person, the list will be longer. But if I consider the disadvantages, the list won't be smaller either. When a famous person moves from places, he receives warm receptions. Often they are invited to the top-class parties or at events. Their presences appear to add some extra splendor on the events. They are admired by all at the functions and thus they get some chances to socialize. Using their name and fame they also can earn wealth, which is a necessary thing to live on this planet. This is a practical issue. But the negative consequences are also important to remember. If you are a celebrity or famous, you might be feeling uneasy when you are on the street. When you walk through the street, people will gaze at you like you are an alien. Some may try to touch you, talk with you, while some intelligent people will try to take a photograph with you. In the beginning, you may have some good feelings, but when it will be a regular phenomenon on the streets, you will be fading away with your fame. You cannot do any public work or join at any public programs. Security will be another important issue for you. You need to have proper security arrangement to handle the crowds. If you are in the market to have some stuff, the shopkeepers may charge more than the regular price for your name and fame. You are in a restaurant to satisfy your hunger and people are noticing each of your movements. You cannot take even your meal peacefully out of your home. These are the disadvantages of being famous. What do you think of the privacy of a well-known person? In fact, the well-known persons have no privacy or private life. Each of the events may be exposed to the public. You cannot be surrounded by four walls all the times and thus you need to be out of your home. If you are a politically well-known person and make the slightest mistake, the media will expose the issue, which may have disastrous impacts on your personal life. The media often tries to publish some untrue facts aiming to increase their circulation. As a result, the privacy of the well-known person is destroyed. I think this is not fair actually, and they should be allowed to have some private life. When they are exposed on media with some private events, it is not a problem at all. The issue is that the exposure is made negative, which creates disastrous impacts on them. Often we hear about the media scandals and try to believe it before justifying them. It should not be done and is unethical. Everyone must have their own private business and it should be made easier so that they could enjoy the private issues. They have become famous for their hard efforts, and if we do not allow some private spaces for them, it would be wrong for us. Peeping on their window will not be considered as part of decency, and the media should give up such silly activities. What do you think of the relationship between a well-known person and advertising? Advertising is the most important way to publicize a product or service. Generally, the common people are eager to know about the private life of the well-known persons or celebrities. Most of the time they try to copy the well-known figures, and the multinational companies and corporations take this chance. They hire the celebrities to advertise their products. The well-known persons advertise for the products, even sometimes being unaware of the product features. The advertisement scripts are written attractively so that the common people could be attracted, and the performance of the celebrities, on the advertisement, does the remaining. For instance, Lux is a beautifying soap and different female celebrities advertise for it. The people who are exposed to the advertisement will think that the celebrity is using the soap, and why should not they have a try? So, they get the soaps and the producing authority makes the profit with a small investment on the advertisement. I think the relation between a well-known person and advertisement is clear. The positive image of the well-known person is sold to advertise any product irrespective of quality. But the people who are participating on the advertisements should collect proper information about the product. Unfortunately, if the products are made with below-standard materials, they will lose their credibility. Would you be influenced by the well-known persons in TV commercials? If you want to know about my opinion, it is difficult to influence me with the television commercials. I try to justify a product before getting that from any superstore or local markets. Most of the time, I try to find out the quality and quantity instead of being influenced by the TV commercials. In the beginning, I was cheated on many times. I watched the advertisements and went to the stores to get the products. But I did not find the products were made with quality materials, or sometimes they were less in quantity. You will laugh with my logic. If a celebrity could be fair using any specific brand soap or fairness cream, then there would be not black-colored people in the world. In fact, the fairness cream or the other cosmetic products cannot make people fair, and the complexion has nothing to do with humanity or skills and expertise. After realizing the fact, I have given up to be influenced with the advertisement. I always follow my own rules and principles. Before getting any product or service for me, firstly I try to find out the producer and seek about their reputation. But sometimes I have to rely on the advertisements as there are no ways to find out of the producer, and I took that as an experiment for me. Do you often talk about singers with your friends? What do you often talk about? Oh, yes. I often talk about singers with my buddies in informal gatherings. We all love songs, and especially I love listening songs when I paint and mostly prefer the instrumental music. But the discussion topics are nothing special. Often we talk about the private life of the singers and how much they take for their performances. Sometimes, we plan to meet any reputed singer and then cancel the plan with the thought it is nothing special for us. Besides, we also discuss the new release of the singers and how they are popular in the market and such other similar issues. Moreover, planning to attend any upcoming show is the part of our discussion, and accordingly we contribute getting the tickets. Group work. Do you like to work alone or with a partner? It's a great question indeed for me. I actually like to work alone. I am an extrovert, and thus it becomes impossible for me to work in a team despite appreciating the teamwork for its positive aspects. Making a partner for working in a team is sometimes uncomfortable for me. I feel shy to ask for some help or something to the partner. As a result, the working partner cannot understand my demand and accordingly cannot serve me. Thereby, the assignments or production level get lower. Besides, I feel uncomfortable with working partners for another reason. When I am assigned with a partner, I have to talk unnecessarily with him or her, and most of the times those are gossips. So, I try to avoid company during my work. Besides, I cannot pay attention to my work when someone is around me. It feels that the individual is observing each of my steps, which are also awkward for me. Further, when I work alone, I can take the decision focusing on the exact issue of the problem, while the discussion over the same issue with someone breaks my concentration. In that case, I have compared with the earlier events, the decisions I took turned into failures. I, in fact, could not think over the issue. But when I work alone, easily I can take the right decisions and accordingly execute the decisions. Moreover, I do not need to share the credit with someone else, while I have found that the failures were pointed to me when I worked in a team, though the other members had active participation with the task. I think working alone increases the productivity, as I do not need to spend my time for some other purposes, and thus the production level increases to the greatest extent. When I work individually, I become my own boss and decide what to do and how to do. Thereby, success is always after me. But if I were with a team, I could not have done the projects or tasks so smoothly. What do you think of teamwork and team spirit? Well, teamwork is a different thing. Despite being introvert and preferred to work alone, I do not have any conflict with the fact, rather I admire it as well for few specific reasons. The first thing is that you can share your responsibilities among your teammates, which help to complete the projects fast, in some cases. Besides, the team members could be of great help to one another, and as a result, an internal relationship builds among the members that go far beyond the professional relationship. The team spirit helps to build trust among the partners, and they gain the necessary strengths to finish the job in time. When working together, there are a large number of conflicts arise, and the team spirit help us to resolve the conflicts easily. It is natural that all the people will be of diversified opinion, and thus they may not agree to any specific point. As a result, the conflicts emerge in the workplaces, but the team spirit helps to overcome the conflicts. Sometimes, you cannot take risks alone, and in that case, the team is there to be with you. They cooperate with the risk minimization process. With the assistance, you can take risks beyond your imagination. When you are working alone, you may not dare to take the risks. There is a saying, unity is strength. Working alone sometimes becomes a challenge for people who prefer the way. So, when you are united with a team, there are fewer chances to fail. But it should be kept in mind that such risks are undertaken in large-scale projects where you will need assistances from different sides, and those assistants will form your team. Moreover, the team members always motivate each other, which mentally boost them up to provide their best services for the projects or assignments. What kind of people are good to work with? If you want to know about the types of people who are suitable for teamwork, I should prefer people who are sincere to their job. Punctuality is another issue to consider. Take an example: you are tagged with a team of 2 other members and assigned to make a project plan as soon as possible. You are to submit the draft project plan, and your company will undertake the project in next few months after considering different aspects. You are in a team. All the other team members are not attentive to the issue and relying on you to do everything. They are in fact irresponsible and insincere. You cannot continue as a team member with them for long. If you are to do everything regarding the project plan preparation process, then what to do with the team, isn't it? You have called for a meeting at 9:00 am sharp while your team members arrived at 9:30 or 10:00 am. How would be your feelings about them? If this becomes a regular phenomenon, the situations go beyond control. I think you should leave such team members. But if the members are cordial and sincere with the jobs and committed to their works, you should form your team with them. They will take care of your responsibilities in your absence. But on the other side, you are also to pay them back the favors you receive from them. Besides, the team members should be cordial and sharing. If you cannot share your inner emotions to the team members and there are some communication gaps, it is expected that your productivity will be hampered. So, it is important to work with people who are sharing and cordial. But finding such types of people in a workplace is the biggest challenge in the current days. Do you like group work or group learning? Thanks. I prefer group learning than group work for several reasons. When I am at group work, I am troubled with the other group members and their queries over different issues. Learning is easier in a group, but working is a bit difficult thing for me. In my past days, when I used to work with a group of people, I was irritated with attitudes of the group members I belonged. Each of them was trying to get advantage from me and the other members over weird issues. Most of the time, the group members do not perform any tasks by themselves. They like to rely on the others, and this tactic seems dishonorable to me to some extent. But the scenario is different in the case of learning. People try to help each other in learning and share their knowledge with the other mates. To me, it appears that they share the information with the fellow learners, as people in general like to teach others. They love teaching, in fact, and if there are chances to teach, they do not miss. They like to be praised for their knowledge. Most of the times, The members share valuable information and knowledge in the class and try to impress others. Only for this perspective, I like to learn in a group. It helps me to learn the unknown things. So, whenever I get the chance to learn in a group, I usually do not miss that. What is your opinion on efficiency? Well, efficiency is the outcome of the efforts invested for any specific tasks. It points out how smoothly and effectively the works for any project or assignment are done. It measures the range of productivity. When you are efficient to any task, the productivity will be increased, and if you are not, the productivity range will be decreased. One fact should be kept in mind that this is a matter of perseverance and skills. If you are impatient and do not have the skills, you cannot think of performing efficiently. So, you are to wait and achieve the required skills for your efficiency. What are the advantages of studying by yourself? The most important benefit of studying alone to me is that it helps to concentrate on the study. When you will be lonely, there will be fewer distractions. When you will be in any group or in a class where there are other students, you will be unable to concentrate on your study. Someone may call you, or you might want to look at your surrounding environment, and finally there will be less time to pay attention to the study. Besides, I think when you are studying alone you can do it at any time of the day. You do not need to take permission from your mates or group members for the study. You may study at your convenient time and accordingly may pay the right concentration. Besides, when you are in a group, it is a usual event that the other group members are on the topic or text that has been completed by you earlier. So, you are to wait for them to finish the study. You are idly passing your time. But there are no such restrictions for studying alone. You do not need to wait for the others and keep moving forward with the unfinished texts. What do you think of efficiency? Well, I think this is the way to gauge the performance of any individual. Literally, efficiency refers to a greater productivity or effectiveness, and it is the indicator of improvement. If we take some real-life examples, then I think the issue should be clearer. Take an example: you are working on PowerPoint presentation. You have to make the presentation within a budgeted time to present at your office, and you are unskilled with the application and do not know what to do or how to do with the presentation package. So, can we term you as efficient with PowerPoint? Or the presentation you have prepared is effective for the targeted people? I think the answer should be negative from all perspectives. If you had former experience in working with the PowerPoint presentation application and could have made the presentation within the budgeted time, you would have been considered as efficient, while the skill you exhibited would be termed as your efficiency. To be frank with you about the efficiency, I understand the issue as to do something perfectly within a limited time. Efficiency is your skill to do something in the right way. Typing on a keyboard is a skill, but if you can type at a great speed and without looking at the keys, that is known as efficiency. Making friends. 1. What are the differences between adults and children in terms of making friends? Well, this is a great question for me. Friendship is a divine thing and it should be understood and appreciated. Mere giving and receiving benefits is not friendship. The meaning is entirely different from the usual conceptions we pose over it. Friends are not always made, and in fact it begins in the childhood and lasts long and even till death in some cases. But if we consider the aspect in terms of making friends, we will find there are some basic difference between the adults and the children who want to make new friends. When children are in the situations to make new friends, they usually think of certain issues. Firstly, they think of benefits. It should not be considered as negative aspect, rather it's natural. Being immature, they cannot think of the realities of life and the value of relationships and thus prefer getting the current benefits. But on the other side, when an adult makes a friend, he thinks about different issues and aspects and also cares less about the benefits. When the children make friends, they try to build the relationship with the other children like their classmates or the kids whom they play with. As a result, their circle of friends becomes limited. But the adults do not make such limited friendships, and the range of friends includes people of all classes in the society. The relations are formed with mutual respects and understandings among them and tend to be continued for longer. Interestingly, the kids' friendships do not last for such longer periods. When they do not find any interest and cannot agree on any issues, they quarrel and split up, and if the quarrels happen between girl children, they stop even showing the least respect to each other. However, such issues are not found in the case of adult friendship. Can adults make friends with children? Yes. Sometimes the adults can make friendship with children in some specific cases. But this is a difficult task indeed. Generally, the mental faculty of kid and an adult is not similar. They are habituated to think different. The meaning of life is also diversified to them. A kid may be happy with a piece of candy while an adult will not be happy even if the entire world is on his or her hand. Satisfaction levels are different between them. So, making friendship is not easier with the kids as it is thought so. The children usually do not understand or need to understand the realities as their mental faculty is not matured to think over the issues. So, it is a bit difficult to adjust with them during the friendship. Besides, they are unstable in nature and hardly can concentrate on any specific issues. So, the adults need to make the first moves to build a friendship with the children. Though it's difficult, it's possible. When the adults will take first move to befriend with the kids, they in return will get some reactions from the kids which will determine if the kids will agree in the relationship or not. If the reaction is positive, then the adults have to move forward with a friendly approach. The most important thing about the kids is that they need someone to listen to their needs and allegations. Usually, adults ignore them and do not want to pay heed to their demands, which create a gap between the adults and kids. So, the first attempt should be made from the adults, and they also need to be careful about the approaches. Once the adults are adjusted with the way of thinking and attitudes of the kids, they will never mind to count them as friends. Sometimes such friendships are stronger than making friendships with adults. What do you think are the most important factors when making friends? It is a critical issue to ponder. There are a great number of factors to consider any individual as a friend. But the first and most important factor to me appears that the counterpart should be sincere in the friendship. In my private life, I have found many friends who were not friends actually. They did not have respect for the relationship and tried always to gain. But sometimes you are to sacrifice over some facts to continue the relationship. When you are to provide services to your friends all of the times whenever you meet and do not even get a thank you in return, it is truly disappointing. It demoralizes the inspiration to continue with the friendship. Thereby, I think both the parties should be careful and sacrificing to the relation. Besides, humane qualities are the other things that should be possessed by the individual you are going to make friends. It is imperative to learn about the private habits and attitudes to people, to animals, reaction to the surrounding events, etc. All the facts should be checked before, if possible, when you are going to make friendship with a stranger. It is important for you to be aware of both the sides of the coin before you start dealing with it. I have also seen some people to regret as they could not select good friends and finally they get deceived from the people. So, if the people you are meeting regularly and gossiping with do not come to be any of the help in your needs, you need to carefully avoid them. There is a saying that good people bring good lucks, and accordingly if you are not with a good company, of course, you are to experience bad lucks in your life. Besides, honesty is another issue that needs to be considered in this aspect. Thereby, make sure your company is clean of all the negative virtues. What are the possible factors that cause the breakup of friendship? Well, there are several factors to break up a friendship. The first thing is mistrust. Someone trusts you with something valuable, it might be information or any valuable stuff, and you are violating the trust. You are deceiving the friend and taking benefits of his or her kindness or generosity. This is a primary cause of breaking up a friendship. Besides, you have more expectations from your friends but you are not getting the desired feedback from them. It also causes for the breakup. At times, There are some misunderstandings between or among the friends which result in the breakup. Mostly the breakups take place when one of the friends does not want to leave his or her benefits. As a result, misunderstandings happen which take them to the breakup. Besides, when the detrimental aspects of a friend are revealed, the surrounding friends break up the friendship with the person lest they become affected with the negative issues. Thereby, I think these are the key causes of the breaking up. But another issue is that all of us should be careful about maintaining the relationships and sacrifice at the possible cases so that the friendship sustains for a long time. Why is it difficult for adults to make friends? Oh. Yes, it is sometimes difficult for the adults to make friends. But in most of the cases, they are seen maintaining the old relations that have been being carried out since their childhood. As a result, in their adulthood, they cannot make more friends as they did in their childhood. Besides, when they turn adults, they become too choosy to get friends. They always try to find out the pros and cons of the friends and consequently discard the people who were on the list. Besides, they, in fact, cannot adjust mentally with the other people who want to be friends if they are from different class or group. Unless the people on the to-be friends list are formerly familiar, they cannot accept the people from heart. It happens as they have more experiences in their life. They have undergone the detrimental impacts of taking the wrong decisions while choosing friends. Sometimes they have been cheated with the dear friends or mates. Often they have been refused to get help in their needs though they have helped greatly and similar many other stories. So, they actually do not want to make friendship with the unknown people, rather nurture the old relationships. Usually, the adult's state of mind is always sharper and they can identify the wrongs immediately when they meet someone new. So, they want to keep themselves away from the troubles and hassles by making friendship with strangers. What will the friendship become like when getting old? Well, with the advancement of time, people will turn old. By the same time, the friendships will become stronger and better than ever. Trust is the key thing that helps make the relations stronger, and it comes with the advancement of time. When people will turn old, they will prefer to be nostalgic, and this is quite natural. When people become old, and particularly in their post-retirement age, they will have nothing important to do like attending office in time or to do anything urgent. They will have plenty of time to spend without doing anything at all. When people will grow older and mature than the current days, they will try to recollect the past days in different forums. Often they will discuss the past happenings and that will turn them nostalgic. To me, it appears that when people will grow old, they will try to remember the past days for several reasons and also will regret as for why they did or did not the thing. This will be the only way for them to pass their leisure hours. Besides, when people will be getting older, they will have no new friends. They will pass their moments with the old people and old schools. But one thing will be prevalent, the understanding among them. It is the base of the bonding among them. Q. Is friendship important in your culture? A. Yes, friendship definitely does stand out on a pedestal which is above all, I would like to say, even higher than the pedestal where the relationship stands at. However, here I would also like to mention that with the term relationship, I would like to exclude the relationship of one with his or her spouse. In our culture, we revere our friendship. We often recite that life is impossible without friends. Friendship is very special in our country, tradition and society. Q. How many close friends can you have? A. There is definitely a limit to all the good things that one can have access to. Similarly, though one can have a number of friends, but there are a very few who can be categorized as a close friend, those whom one can confide in and have a heart-to-heart talk. In my case, I can have 2-3 very close friends. Q. Are friends more important than family? A. No, I would not support this statement. There is no doubt that in case of any need, friends will be beside you, but then we cannot compare family. Once again, I would like to say that family in this instance comprises of the spouse, the parents and children, and their relationship is beyond comparison. Yes, friends do definitely have a special edge in our life, but family comes first. Perhaps then stands the friendship, which is very important as well. Q. What are the qualities of a good friend? A. A good friend is a person in whom one can confide, can share one's heart out. Rather share anything and everything without even thinking about the after effects of it. A good friend is also one who gives you a frank, fair and genuine advice, guidance and support in the hour of your need. Q. What type of qualities you prefer to make friends? A. The two most important qualities that I always prefer are positive mentality and honesty among friends. If someone has these two qualities, I will become her friend easily. Apart from that, I look the way he makes a conversation, criticize others and behave with others. Finally, I would also look for common interest, as I believe having common interests and similar views make the friendship stronger. Q. Do you have many friends? How much time do you spend with friends? A. I used to have quite a large number of friends during my college years. Nowadays I have comparatively fewer friends, but they are very close to me. I have around 3-4 close friends and many other good friends whom I really like to discuss, talk and spend time with. As I have got busy these days, I spend around 5-6 hours with my friends weekly. Sometimes, it varies from 3 to 10 hours on an average. Family. In what ways have families in your country changed in recent years? Well, change is the word of the day. Everything is changing around us and families are not an exception to the trend. Nuclear families have been flourished across European countries and the number of such families in Greece is notable. The changes have taken place in the recent years, immediately after the year 2000. Most of the large families have broken down into smaller units and a few members live in such families. Such families consist of a father, a mother and their kids. If they do not have any kids, the family turns smaller. It has happened for several reasons, and to me, it appears that the rising of the daily expenses is a primary cause of the separation. Sometimes the other family members do not want to bear the skyrocketing expenses of the members and thus they split from the family and make their own family. Besides, with the modernization, people want to live in modern and smaller houses filled with the modern amenities. But they do not get so in the large houses where the extended families usually live in. Moreover, mental complexity among the extended family members is also a potential cause for the separation. 2. Should husbands and wives have different roles within the family? Why not? Yes, I think that the husbands and wives have different things do in a family. Humans cannot live alone, they need companions, and I think a husband or a wife is the best company ever found for each other on the planet. So, to run the family, both of them should share the responsibilities. Without sharing the roles, a family cannot run well and consequently the relationship turns bitter. For instance, a family is like a vehicle where the husband and the wife are like the wheels of that vehicle. If one of the wheels does not fit with the body or becomes larger than the other wheel, it becomes impossible to run that vehicle. All the wheels need to be equal. Thus, the husband of a family should share roles and responsibilities with his wife. Wage earning was the key responsibility of a man, but that idea fitted in the primitive age. The current day situations are different. We are moving fast and a wide number of needs have emerged which is not possible for a woman to meet for her family. She needs a hand to share the responsibilities, and this is the husband who needs to extend the helping hand to her wife and the family.